Hail and welcome, everyone. My name is Lady Calamir, and I am doing my 344th presentation, and it will be on the Greek sea monster, Scylla. Before I go on, please like and subscribe to my channel. And if you don't have a YouTube account, that's okay. You can make one for free. And this gives you don't need to make any content, but this gives you the ability to like and comment on a video. Otherwise, all you can do is watch and share. So it's free to make a YouTube account and very easy. So Scylla is a sea monster that terrified sailors. She lived by the rocks of a narrow strait, which she was exact opposite of another monster. And this monster would appear as a giant whirlpool, and this was a male whose name was Car Charybdis. Charybdis. Trying to remember how to pronounce it in as best as I can in Greek. And those who sailed too close to her domain, well, she'd make sure quite a few of them, if not all of them, would lose their lives, with her thrashing them to the rocks and destroying their ships. But before I go on, this card comes from The Dark Goddess Oracle by Barbara Michael Johnfrey and Flavia Kate Peters, designed by Kate Osborne, and this has drama. This beautiful card, Scylla, which the card says resilience, and this is the back, comes from Deep, Dark, and Dangerous Oracle by Stacey DeMarco, illustrated by Kinga, I can't pronounce, Brit Sarshki, Britschki. Hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Both can be found on Amazon. They can be found on eBay, your local cult or bookstore. If they don't have it, ask for it. Not everyone likes to buy from Amazon. Some people do. But check out these cards. You won't be disappointed. Now, who were her parents? So, depending on the source material, Apollodorus says that it was Phorkys the father and Trinos the mother. Also, same source, Phorkys and Crates. Other sources like the Homer Odyssey say it was just Crates. Other sources say Lamia was the mother and Phorkys was the father. Others say this the father was just Triton, who happens to be the son of Poseidon. And Triton, of course, was the son of Poseidon, which calls Poseidonus in Greek, and was also the herald of his father. So others say that her mother was Echidna. Maybe you seen her on Hercules, the legendary journeys continue. That old show back in the 90s and 2000s. Wasn't it just did it just last into the 90s that she was a monstrous sea dragon? So Scylla and the other monster, the Charybdis, Charybdis. Blech. I'm trying to pronounce these as best as I can. Work together to destroy ships. It's not like they had like this partnership. They just were there. So in the Homer Odyssey, she is mentioned with Odysseus, where he had two choices to make: to go by Charybdis and have all his crew destroyed, or to go by Scylla and to end up sacrificing six of his crewmates. So he had to make a hard decision according to the prophecies of Kirke, which people call her Circe here, but she's pronounced Kirke in Greek, Kirke. So we spell her Circe, but it's Kirke, the witch, the prophetess, who basically that was his choice. So Scylla element is of course water. I would use anything dealing with waves, the color of the waves and foam and water if you are working with her. And there's also a story about how Heracles was Hercules, but pronounced Heracles in Greece, who went and fought and slain the Scylla, but Phorcys, her father, restored her back to life. So there is that. Now, Scylla, in some stories, was said to have been a very beautiful, gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous maiden. And Glaucus was in love with this beautiful maiden. So, and according to this story with Kirke, or people call her Circe here, was in love with Glaucus. So he asked for a potion that Scylla, this beautiful lady, would choose him. Oh, she made him a potion, all right. She made it out of jealousy and anger. She made it so that she would turn this beautiful maiden into a hideous, ugly monster. And this potion did. This potion turned her and made her into a dangerous monster, robbed of her beauty. And of course, Glaucus could not love her. And so she avenged her injuries. Anyone who comes near her, she's going to destroy, as she did in the Odyssey, the story of the Odyssey. So there's also a love story, according to Another source is that Scylla and Poseidonus had a thing. Poseidon, Poseidonus slept with Scylla, and they had an affair. So there's that. Hi, what you want, baby? Yeah. She wants to tell stories too. We have Lady Bost here. So there was also, I heard a story about Aphrodite was jealous of Scylla for sleeping with her man, and she goes after Scylla. So yeah, there's stories of that with she is the one to basically make a poison brew and pour it where Scylla bathes and turned into a monster. So Amphitrite is also associated with the transformation of this beautiful lady into a sea creature. So it's pretty cool to talk about Scylla during the dark half or spooky season because of her dealing with being a monster. So let's look at her names. Scylla, when we look at the name Scylla, is if you look at the name in the Greek name, the hermit crab, which is Skylaros from my memory banks, means uh, hermit crab. So you have the name, the word to Skyllo. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Skyllo, Skyllo. And no, Greek is not my second language. I learn about the deities and stuff and try to learn where their names come from. So when you look at skilo, it means to tear apart, to rend, to basically rip apart. Then you got skalox, which is like a dog shark. So we see like she's uh, uh, a, a monster, like a hermit crab, a dog, a shark, or where she's a composite of these different animals to make one monstrous beast. And she was once a beautiful female nymph. Now, other poets and sources say that Scylla was always a sea monster and born into a monstrous family. So, and other poets say no, she was a beautiful sea nymph. So, again, what to believe, that's up to you. I will not tell you how or what you should believe who she really was. I am just the messenger. So we're going to look at this card, drama. And And we were just talking about someone who is full of drama and an ex friend of mine. So nothing bad, just, you know, it's just drama. That's all it is, and I don't want it. But I'll just read a little bit from this book again, Dark Goddess Oracle Cards. Mm, well, attention, please, all eyes on me. 'Tis what all others really see. Exaggerating is not a fact. Life should not be one big act. By the power of the Dark Goddess in me, protection in place, blessed be. So, Scylla revealed, archetypical drama queen of Greek origin. Little boo, why you do this to me? Of Greek origin, Scylla haunted the rocks of a narrow waterway. Ships that sailed too close to her rocks lost men to her grasp and appetite. Her voice is likened to the yelping of dogs. She is the nature of treacherous waters, stormy, violent seas, and rocky shores made flesh. Dark goddess foresight, so we'll read this. Understand that gossip affects the subject matter. What goes around comes around. You've cried wolf too often. Don't be so quick to point the finger. Stop trying to steal the limelight. Don't get left in the wings. Someone is dominating a situation and an Oscar goes to. So there's also dark goddess guidance, but we'll leave off on that. Well, I was going to discuss the other card. May I? May I? I don't. Okay. You can have this card, okay? Fair trade. So Scylla, resilience. So we'll read from this, which is the deep and dark, deep, dark, and dangerous oracle by Stacy DeMarco. And I'm just trying to find the card here. Scylla and the Monsters 31. Lady Boss is here saying hello to everyone as usual. She loves to be in front of the camera. So Scylla, resilience. Life throws adversity at you. There is no escaping this. Yet building resilience allows you to handle this better. Building flexibility is a key to developing resilience. Righteous anger is not shameful. Sometimes you get caught between a rock and a hard place. You need to make a decision between two poor outcomes to get where you need to go. So they say that her crystal companion, Serpentine, is her stone, and her plant companion is called a sea onion. So I'll read a little bit from this part of the book. Homer writes of Scylla in Kirky's voice. No crew can boast they ever sailed their ship past Scylla unscathed. Scylla was not born of death. She is a thing of terror, intractable, ferocious, and impossible to fight. Odysseus was literally caught between a rock and a hard place, yet decided that battling Scylla would be a preferable. He and his crew sailed to the strait where Scylla and Carabid I can never say Carbidius. Carbidius. Charybdis, sorry, war and knew that death was near. They sailed closer to Scylla, and who rose up in rage and slaughtered 6 sailors. 1 man was taken by each of her heads, so she had 6 heads. Scylla remained resilient and undefeatable. And a much later story recorded in, see how they have it written. And so it's a little bit hard to read. Eustathius commentary on Homer, it was said that the hero Heracles encountered Scylla during a journey to Sicily and managed to slay her. Her father, the sea god Phorcys, immediately applied healing flaming torches to her body, and she returned to life. Again, Scylla rises righteously, ferocious to thwart yet another pesky hero. So they also write about duality, resilience slash rigidity, and righteous anger slash anger. Most people who know of Scylla were introduced to her through Homer's epic, The Odyssey. Odysseus wants to return home with his men and is told that he will have to pass through the straits of Messina close to two monsters. To do so, Scylla guards one side of the rough and narrow water opposite Car- Carbidius, Charybdis, another monster, in the shape of an inescapable whirlpool. It is said that the two monsters were in arrow's range of each other, so that if one didn't get you, the other certainly would. So I'm not going to read the whole book, but I read bits and pieces of it. So Scylla is also one another source points out that she is a daughter of Hecate. Now that's not a popular belief. Hecate is Hecate, but there are sources that say that she is the daughter of Phorcys and Hecate. Hecate. That's how you pronounce her in Greek. Hecate. And here we pronounce her Hecate. So that's just another look about her. So Scylla and the voyage of the Argonauts, where she appears. And Hera, the queen of the gods, who's we pronounce her Hera here, but they don't pronounce the H in Greek, so it's Hera. And the goddess said to Thetis that she brought the Argonauts. She gave them safe passage through the wandering rocks away from Scylla, where to protect them from Scylla. But the wandering rocks, I should say, and she's going to do what she can to protect them from Scylla. And but they still have to pass by either Scylla or the whirlpool, Charybdis. So, and she commands the sea goddess Thetis to guide the Argonauts past this monster, and do not let my warriors, my people that I like, my heroes, to fall for the whirlpool. She doesn't want, nor let the Scylla, the angry, rageful Scylla, take them down. And here she said that Scylla is a wicked, gruesome, ugly monster that was birthed by the wandering Hecate and the male Phorcys. That she doesn't want them to be attacked. And she tells Thetis to do what you must to guide my heroes, the ones that I favor, to have their ship and their crew to escape disaster. as best as possible. So here we see Hera commanding Thetis to protect her heroes, her warriors, those she chose. So we see Skyllas in different, like in the Ovid, the Metamorphosis, as we did the Metamorphosis. Ovid, who is a Roman poet, who transforms a Medusa, that we see Scylla written by him, that we see her dealing with who dealing with Kirke and dealing with the Trojans. So we see her in the story of Hercules. And in the Metamorphosis of Scylla, even by pseudo hygienist, sorry, again, she was a daughter of the river Crates, and to be one of the most beautiful uh, water nymphs, maiden. But Glaucus loved her. But of course, Circe was in love with Glaucus, and as I said, that Circe, who's a witch, was a soul who was the daughter of Ilios and was a powerful witch, made a potion and basically poisoned Scylla, and that from dogs sprang from her legs and thighs, and she was turned into a monster. So, and her love affair with Poseidonus has caused Aphrodite to also poison her with a potion and turn her into a monster. So Scylla deals also dealing with the guardian of she was one of the guardians of the underworld. And she's one of the beasts that who basically was at the portals or the doors of Hades. So Scylla was one of the horrifying beasts protecting that portal to the underworld. To protect things also from getting out. So here we see her dealing with the land of the dead, or the portal at the land of the dead. As for me, I've never worshipped Scylla, and I'm sure there are people that do. And she is a interesting character. She's As for being as approachable, she's really not so approachable. I would take a lot of caution. And that to remember her element is water. And to use the plant sea onion if you can get one, and serpentine stone. But also If you live near a beach, I would advise to give her offerings of things that she may like. Again, and it would probably all have to do with things being very watery, like melons, and one could give her roses, I'm sure, and things that are biodegradable into the ocean. So maybe some sweets, some wine. Again, that would be your choice. And like I said, I've never reached out to Skylla. I've learned about her, and I thought it would be a good idea to talk about her, but she's not in one of the pantheons I called. Maybe one day she will be. And they made her look like a Medusa character here, which when I first saw the card, I thought it was Medusa, but it's not. She actually uses this picture here is actually the card from Medusa. But yeah, she is deep, she is dark, she is dangerous. And if you want to call her and if she works for you, let me know. Let me know in your comments your experiences with Scylla. Have you ever prayed to her? Have you ever worked with her? Have you ever fed her? What were your experiences? I would really love to know that. But I thought it would be a good thing to one day talk about her. I was going to talk about her last year, but I had, my schedule full of what I wanted to talk about. So I decided to talk about her. And her theme is that of what was done to her was out of jealousy and that she has become angry for it, which I wouldn't blame her, and about dealing with concepts of rage and anger and betrayal, or not so much betrayal, but what actions of jealousy can do and how it can affect your act of jealousy to someone can affect people in the future, and that can affect good people and innocent people, and to be mindful of your actions, that sometimes one action of just doing one thing can spread out, and just to be mindful. I'm not telling you to not to get revenge. Oh no, I get revenge, trust me. But to think about that for a moment, you know. So anyways, I want to thank you for watching my channel. I wish I could give you more in depth on Scylla, but I just can't. And I hope that you learned something about this. And definitely pick up these cards. I really love them. So if you like this, please give me a thumbs up. Follow me on my YouTube channel. Spread my channel to your friends and family. And to be good to yourself and others. And when you felt that you have done something wrong, it's always good to do the right thing and reach out and apologize when you have wronged someone. And, I was wrong about someone and I reached out. And not that I did anything wrong other than just walk away. I did apologize. So making amends and mending things up is a good thing to do. And, sometimes it's good to admit when you are wrong or that you have been deceived by another, and to make up when you're wrong. Be good to animals, be good to yourself, be good to others. As always, blessed be.